Hi, I'm ThaMango, and last week I posted a video going over Minecraft's new shelf block, and they're amazing. But since then, I've been messing around with designing some furniture using shelves. I built these in the order that I'm going to show you them in, so the designs will get more and more insane as we go on. The last ones are absolutely crazy. But let's begin with this pretty standard wardrobe idea. Because I used shelves for the sides, you can actually fit a chest inside and some extra shelves for storage, making it pretty practical to use. But I also decided to make this much larger wardrobe too, which is more of a statement piece. I used acacia to give it a Japanese style, but shelves come in every wood type, so you can customize all of these builds as much as you want. I even put a cherry sapling in the top shelf, which works nicely as a decoration. Moving on, I included these planters in my last video, but I really liked the designs, so I thought I'd show them off again. I especially like this one that uses pottery sherds, but I've also discovered that scaffolding looks really nice in shelves too, giving an art deco kind of look. Next up is this small grandfather clock, and I just placed some spruce wood in the shelves on the side to make the profile shape of the clock look a bit more detailed, and it gives it this really nice old style shape. Now for this shoe rack, you might notice that the shelves have a different texture. Lots of people let me know in the comments of the last video that you can power shelves with redstone to remove the separating lines, which gives this much cleaner look and works really well for a shoe rack. As you'd probably guess, shelves work really nicely to build shelves with, and so I'm going to just go over a few shelf designs that I came up with, starting with this really classic looking wooden shelf unit, which has a mix of activated and regular shelves to add some nice variety to the design. And I also just added a bunch of clutter on it to make it look more used. There's also this nice, simple crimson design, where I actually used the back texture of a pale oak shelf for the backboard. I also made this much larger shelf unit. It uses some chiseled bookshelves to look like empty shelves, but my favorite part is that I added some doors to the actual shelves to look like small cabinets for storage. You'll definitely see this trick be used on a lot more furniture as we go. This bamboo shelf is made using scaffolding. It's not actually usable, but you could place some bookshelves behind it if you wanted to make it look like it's actually being used. Now I went a little bit overboard while designing this modern shelf, but I didn't want to just include smaller designs. I also wanted to make some much more complex furniture ideas which you might not recreate, but you can hopefully take some inspiration from. And I really love this design. It uses a variety of the cabinets I spoke about before, but also some pull-out drawers which I made using slabs to make it look really practical, and it just looks so clean. These next few ideas are all going to be wall-mounted designs, starting with this very basic shelf design, which uses some signs to have a bit more of a unique shape. And then these pull-out shelves take advantage of fences connecting to the shelves. I'm not sure yet if this is a bug that's going to be removed, but I really hope it's not. I absolutely love this raised cabinet design, especially with the planters on top of it. It would especially work well in a really tall room, or in front of a window with some natural light behind it. The final shelf that I want to show you is this really realistic one, which is actually indented into a wall. Because of that, you can basically fit it anywhere in your house, and I think it just looks like something that you'd find in an actual house. Before I move on to the next category of furniture, I also just want to show off these really simple couch designs, which use shelves for the backrest. This last one uses some double high shelves to look more like a reclining section of the couch, and I also added a small footrest. But flying over, I'm now going to show you a couple of bedroom specific designs, and I pretty much just made a bunch of beds, as there's so much that you can do with them now. This bed is very standard, but the shelves on the edges mixed with the trapdoors and signs help to add a really nice shape to it, which I also experimented around with for this pink bed, giving it a more pointed kind of shape. I don't think that I've ever built a bed with a canopy before, as I always think it looks pretty messy, but now with shelves you can make this really neat design. It uses the trick of fences connecting to shelves, and on the top I just added a layer of string so that I could place some carpets on top. The actual bed is made using carpet, so that I could hide some redstone blocks underneath it, just helping to make the pull-out drawers at the end of the bed cleaner. I also wanted to make some beds that are actually usable, and so I started with this simple bunk bed design. I think that the back texture of oak shelves are the perfect material for these. These smaller beds work great too, and as you can see, you can make these in pretty much any color. Because of their shape, shelves look really good as a headrest for these beds. You can also create this slightly bigger version to work as a double bed, which also kind of looks like a giant chair. For any rooms like a nursery room, I also created this small cot design. And then I also made this racing car bed design which could fit perfectly in a kid's bedroom. I really like this design. Okay, so when I said that I went overboard with some of these designs, this is what I meant. I wanted to make some examples of how shelves can be used to make bedside tables, and I created this huge bed unit. There are even these small cabinets which I made by sinking some doors down into the floor, which makes these fully usable as a storage location. Even a more simple bed unit design like this looks great. I just used an end rod and a turtle shell on top to make the small lamp, and a couple of shelves to make this backboard, but you could of course just have a wall back here. The wardrobe is also fully usable in this design, which is always useful. The final bed design I have is this really slick one. It uses slabs rather than wool for the bed to make it much lower, and I think it works really nicely. Now, moving over to kitchen furniture, I want to begin with tables. I built quite a couple which are all different scales, and as you can tell, this is the biggest. The shelves work perfectly as a base for the table, but also as a back for the chairs. But if you want a smaller design, I just reused the base for this one, but instead used trapdoors to make a much thinner table. Normally you'd use doors for chairs like this, but I much prefer using shelves now, as you don't have to worry about accidentally clicking on them. These chairs are in my opinion just a tiny bit cleaner though, but the only issue is that you can't crouch in them, seeing as you'll just fall through the scaffolding. For this table, I just used spruce logs to fill it in, so unlike the previous designs, you can actually put food and plates on this one. For this more modern design, I really liked using blue candles to look kind of like water bottles on the table, and the steak looks like it's in a square plate. And by far, these are my favourite chair design. They're more like an armchair, so they could work really nicely too in a living room, so you can watch the TV from them. Now before we get to some kitchen unit designs, what I want to show you is this quick fridge upgrade I came up with. It's quite tall, so it would need to go in a big room, but it just uses some shelves at the bottom to look like a pull-out freezer drawer. And so this is an example of how you can make much nicer looking kitchen units. It includes an oven with some glass panes on the door, but also a ton of shelves all around it, and some hoppers as an induction fan. I think it actually looks really realistic, especially for Minecraft. And then this is a more modern kitchen unit, which would fit perfectly into a modern mansion or villa. And I even managed to squeeze in that fridge design that I came up with before. To really mix things up, let's move on to this medieval kitchen concept. You obviously have this grand fireplace, but then there's also just an absolute ton of shelves and cabinets. I even added this small sliding ladder using hanging signs, which can be used to get to the top of the cabinets. And then just to tie it all together, I made a small table, which goes really nicely with the medieval theme. And now we can move on to some bathroom furniture. You'll quickly notice that I mostly just used pale oak, as it looks the most like acrylic, making it perfect for this bathtub. I'm not sure if it's a bug or a bedrock feature, but for some reason when you fill up something made using shelves with water, the water looks really wavy and not flat, but I kind of like the look of it. Then the most important part of a bathroom, the toilet. You can use shelves to just bulk it up more than one made with trapdoors, and you can even add a small handle on the side for flushing, just by using a slab. And also important for a bathroom is a sink. And so I put together this small unit which has some taps using tripwire hooks, but also these huge mirrors. As I've mentioned before, I'm not good at making banners, and so my friend Squeaky Juice helped to make these, as well as a couple of other small things with some of the other designs. I also love the iron nuggets used in the shelves to look like small metal handles. Now this is just a pretty standard shower design, but in the shelves I added some wildflowers which give it a very tacky bathroom look, which I think looks pretty cool. It is a pretty large design though, but you can always shrink these down and simplify them if you need to. These are just meant to be some fun concepts for you to take inspiration from and make your own. And so now I just have a couple more shelf designs, but unlike the ones at the start, these are specifically just for bathrooms. They'd look especially perfect in a spa or just a relaxation area. This one is a bit more detailed though. There's also just this taller wardrobe too. And then this decorative wall piece that I made, just meant to look like mosaics with a few small cabinets underneath. Like I mentioned, you can switch the wood out on any of these. Some of these bathroom designs could look really nice in spruce or dark oak, especially this towel rack I think would look really good in another palette. Originally, I was going to add some garden furniture ideas to this video, as I really wanted to show some off, especially this hot tub design, which has these small buttons on the side using bamboo buttons. I didn't want for the video to be too long though, and so I'll probably do a different video with more furniture ideas for other rooms in the future, so please do let me know in the comments what other rooms I could make furniture for. But just to finish up with the bathroom stuff, I made this small radiator which could probably go in any room really, and then finally this small laundry basket. These next designs are in my opinion the best, as they really push the new shelves to their limits. Essentially, these are all stuff for an arcade or games room, starting with these arcade machines. I created a few different versions to just show off a few possibilities, but I especially love this one with the banner as a screen and the glass as the controller buttons. The shelves really help to make a perfect shape for these. You couldn't really do this before. And then this is just crazy to me. I don't know how this is vanilla Minecraft. I know it's not functional, but this claw machine looks like it's taken straight out of a mod. You've obviously got your controls at the front, and then some banners up here with the custom letters on them to spell out the claw. There are even a couple of striped banners along the side to make it look like it's ripped straight out of an arcade or fun fair, but you could obviously have this in your house if you wanted to. This air hockey table is something that I would absolutely love to have in my house. It uses banners once again, but this time as the score on the machine. And there's even a bunch of ice along the side and a slot made using a hopper for the puck to come out of. And then next up I have this large snooker table, which is just once again a really clean design. These shelves work perfectly along the edge of it, and I really like having all of these buttons to represent the different coloured balls. And then lastly, I'm not sure what you call one of these, but this is one of those basketball games that every arcade has, where you have to get as many baskets as you can in a minute. The shelves work really nicely as some sidewalls for the machine, but most importantly once again as a score counter made using banners, and for some decorations at the front of the machine. I think any of these arcade machines would look so cool in a modern mansion. Imagine having this or the claw machine in your living room. But with that being said, that was about 60 furniture ideas. I really hope that at least one or two might end up in your world. Please do let me know your favourite in the comments, or just what rooms I could build furniture for next. Goodbye.